Avi Meyers, Northtown Neighborhood News Magazine, a presentation of Sonny Hirsch and myself. Check us out on the web at ntnm.org, communitypolicingcaps24.org. Jewish Chicago, if you're watching this on YouTube, there's a good chance you can still participate. If you're watching this on the air, depending on where you're watching it, you might have a day or two, or you might be too late because it'll be out all over the place in greater numbers than ever. And thank you so much for accepting our paper. We try very hard to tell the truth and not be either left-wing or right-wing about it, and not be ideological either. And we appreciate your support and growing support through the years. Been doing this for 32 years. We actually have a for real Republican candidate in Cook County. It does happen. It happens in some races. It's a sub-circuit, and it's in the one place in the county where he's actually got a pretty good shot at winning. But he's unopposed in the primary. There will be Democratic opposition, of course, during the general election. And I'd like to introduce you to a candidate for judge in the 12th Sub-Circuit as a Republican, David Studenroth. How are you?
Thank you for having me.
First of all, my pleasure. And why don't you tell us something about yourself?
Well, I originally grew up in Pennsylvania, and I went to Temple University in Philadelphia. After graduating college, I came to Chicago for law school. I attended the John Marshall Law School, and I clerked at a civil firm and the Cook County State's Attorney's Office. After graduating law school, I was offered a position at the Cook County State's Attorney's Office under Richie Daly, and I worked there for 11 years.
Nice.
Started off in appeals, had 5 appellate court arguments in the appellate court, went to misdemeanor courts, felony review, preliminary hearings, ended up in the felony trial division, where I rose from 3rd, 2nd to 1st chair.
Nice.
And supervised 2 state's attorneys in a felony courtroom, and rotated my way around some of the courtrooms at 26th in California. And then eventually I was approached by the Special Prosecution Unit, and they recruited me to join the Gang Prosecution Unit.
Wow.
So I ended my career as a gang crimes prosecutor, and I was prosecuting gang murder cases that occurred in the city of Chicago.
We're going to have you on separately just to talk about that after this election, especially with Sonny and I being so involved in CAPS. That's a fascinating subject, absolutely fascinating. Very much like to talk about that. So you've got a pretty good background. Studenroth actually sounds like a Pennsylvania name for some reason.
Thank you. After working at the State's Attorney's Office for 11 years, I resigned and opened up my own law practice, and I've been doing criminal defense for the past 17 years.
Yeah.
And I get to all the courthouses in Cook, Lake, DuPage County, do all sorts of felony cases, misdemeanors, DUIs, and traffic-related offenses.
How are your Bar Association ratings?
I was highly recommended by 2, recommended and qualified by all the remaining bar associations.
And I will point out that this having a little more Jewish content than most, the Decalogue Society, the Society of Jewish Lawyers, gave you their highest recommendation.
Highly recommended, that's correct.
And
I was very
I don't know if you were here earlier, but when she was here, but we actually had their president here earlier who was running for Judge Deidre Bauman.
Okay.
So, okay, now, for people that don't realize what a judge does, I mean, you can have more of an effect on people's livelihoods, their health, their wealth, their freedom.
Absolutely.
First of all, let me urge people to start at the bottom of the ballot this time around and go up and make sure they vote in the judges' races, even though in this particular case you're unopposed. And what you're seeing, by the way, in the Jewish community is an increasingly larger and larger number of people each time actually among the religious community register Republican because they don't feel that they're being represented properly on a number of Jewish subjects by the present administration. So, the Decalogue Society thing comes in handy along lines like that.
Yes.
So how do you go about campaigning?
Well, one of my strong points is when I'm campaigning is that I was on both sides of the fence, so to speak. I started off as a prosecutor, so I know that perspective, and I also know the other side, the criminal defense side. So I think that is one of my strongest selling points, that since I was both a prosecutor and a defense attorney now, I bring that unique perspective to the bench, being fair to both sides and balanced.
No, I think that's very important, no question about it. Are you going to a lot of events and things like that to let people know about you, or?
Absolutely. I already had a campaign kickoff celebration fundraiser. I have another few planned prior to the March primary, and I hope that if everyone gets a chance, they can come out and support me.
Now, in terms of, now, where, even though I've had a couple other guests today from the 12th, where is the 12th sub-circuit? What area does it take in?
It's the northwest suburbs of the city. It's Glenview, Northbrook, Wheeling, Arlington Heights, Mount Prospect, Elk Grove Village, Des Plaines, part of Park Ridge, and then a little bit over towards the lake also.
So quite a large area, but a very nice area, actually.
Absolutely. I reside in Glenview and proud to be there.
Yeah, no, definitely a very nice community along those lines. So if people would like to contact you, or let's say people want you to speak at an event, are you available for them?
Absolutely. I have a website called studenrothforjudge.com, and I'm also on Facebook with the same name, Studenroth for Judge on Facebook.
Studenroth for Judge on Facebook. I want to wish you good luck in the campaign. You obviously don't have a tough primary because you don't have an opponent.
No, I was fortunate.
But you do have an opponent. You will be having an opponent in the fall. So we do invite you back. As a matter of fact, not too long after the election, I would love to discuss about the gang crime stuff.
Absolutely, anytime.
That's, I mean, I can't begin to tell you you know yourself what a hot topic that is around town these days. Okay, David Studenroth, running for judge, Republican, 12th Sub-Circuit. I want to thank you much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you to my entire tech crew, Sunny Hirsch. Thank you for joining us, everybody. Bye-bye.